Let's move our focus to the Western Cape now. The forced removal of District 6 residents in Cape Town is remembered to this day as one of the most painful acts by the apartheid government. But instead of remaining bitter, the community has decided to reach out and forgive. Dozens of Cape Townians from all walks of life set out on a march for reconciliation. Lester Kivitt has the story.
A walk in silence to remember and to forgive. People from different religious faiths walk to remember the history of District 6. Christians, Muslims and Jews stop at churches and mosques in the area and start a dialogue to heal the wounds of the past.
District 6 was a mix, a true mix of many colors and groups of people. And I think that is the image that many people still have in their minds when they think of District 6. We cannot recreate it, we cannot bring it back, but we can create something of that again.
Organisers say recent debates on issues like land expropriation without compensation are necessary discussions because it allows South Africans to confront the legacy of apartheid.
Belonging somewhere is very important, and knowing where you come from, where your ancestry come from, it's very important for everyone to recognize that and to be recognized as such, that this is where we were, this is where we are, this is where we want to be. And I think everybody needs that.
Former District 6 beneficiaries say while they're ready to forgive the injustices of the past, they're still longing for land restitution that will allow them to rebuild their homes demolished half a century ago. Lester Kivitt, Cape Town.
Let's get you more on this now. I'm joined by the Restitution Foundation COO, Dion Sneeman, who is live for us from our Cape Town studios. Dion, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Looking at those pictures from our reporter, Lester Kivitt's story on that walk, people from all walks of life, very thoughtfully walking through the area that was once the home of themselves and their extended families. District 6 was very much a representation of the communities that went against everything that the apartheid government was about.
That is very true. And we were reminded today of a history lesson that District 6 still teaches each and every South African. The legacy of District 6 reminds us that people of different faith traditions used to live in harmony and peace with each other. The Muslim children on a Sunday accompanied their Christian friends to church, and on a Friday, Christian friends visited the mosque with their Muslim friends. And walking together in District 6 today, we were reminded that this is where we need to work towards in creating the better and new society that we all are dreaming of. And coming from a community, the Afrikaner community, a community that was known to exclude people and turn only inside and thinking that they have all the truth and all the answers about everything. It is a re-education process to be part of a walk like today, to discover and experience how much richer we can be by embracing each other in diversity and not pushing people away.
Now, the aim to remember is all important on a story like this, and indeed where South Africa finds itself as the land debate continues. Growing up in the Cape, I remember hearing stories from family and friends who had grown up in District 6, had been forcibly removed from District 6, and then driving through the area, and the one thing you always noticed is barren land, but all you saw were the various churches and indeed mosques standing there. And many of those families would continue to go back to worship in those churches over the years during apartheid South Africa, in their way of showing that they would not be moved spiritually, even though physically they would be moved. How important was that religious community in District 6?
It was very important, and it's a very humbling knowledge to be remembered that some people after 50 years still attend church services in District 6, even though they live in Deep River or in Lavender Hill or Hanover Park. And it was really a very humbling experience for us today, walking from church to the mosque and to the other churches, and to see the open land between these churches, and to know that there has been houses, there has been life before, and it's not there anymore. And while we were walking, I think all of us reflected and knew that we cannot really have real peace in South Africa or District 6 if we don't address the root causes that cause the conflict in our society. So while we celebrated Reconciliation Day today during the walk, we also had a huge emphasis on restitution, because we believe that the saying of sorry is not enough. We need to do sorry, we need to repair, and we need to become activists so that there can be real justice for the people of District 6. And I think that the leaders from the different faith communities in District 6 can play a meaningful role as sort of bipartisan role players in helping to facilitate the complexity of establishing the repaired District 6 that we are all dreaming of.
Now, the walk around Reconciliation Day, also quite fitting in that it comes just a few weeks after the Western Cape High Court ordered the Minister of Rural Development and Land Reform to formulate a plan to speed up that restitution process within 3 months. It's been more than 2 decades that the District 6 people have been locked in this battle to get some kind of restitution for the home and the land that they lost. Quite fitting then today, after just a few weeks after this, this court decision.
Yes, and we acknowledge with huge pride the role that the District 6 Working Committee played in the whole legal process. And in our reflections today, we encourage each other that it's important for the people of District 6 to be united and to stand together and to put all their efforts into building a united front, so that the people of District 6 can speak with one voice and make sure that they can hold each other's hands and not fight against each other, but hold each other's hands and work together to create this settlement that we all are hoping will bring some sort of relief after so many years of trauma and of pain and of devastation.
One final question before we let you go. District 6 also important in the ongoing discussion around making our cities more inclusive of people from all walks of life, and indeed people from various financial backgrounds in terms of where they find themselves. In Cape Town specifically, there's been criticism that it's become a place that only the very rich can afford to live. So many people keeping an eye on District 6 and how it can successfully bring ordinary South Africans back within that very historic city bowl.
About 400 people who attended our walk today from all different sections in our society, I think, were very, very passionate that District 6 must not get into the hands of rich developers or people that are very wealthy, but that District 6 must be at least a place that make return for people who have got fond memories of growing up, or whose ancestors grew up in District 6 and lived in District 6, that they need to come back to District 6, and that it needs to be their home. And it was very clear today when we also facilitated conversations between people who have been connected to District 6 and those who live from other parts in Cape Town, listening to each other's stories today, I think just motivated all of us that this is the birthplace of the people that used to live here in District 6, and we cannot take the birthright away from the people who has a legitimate claim to District 6.
We thank you for your time today. That's the Restitutions Foundation COO Dion Snyman live for us from our Cape Town studios.